Boozed and Confused is a comedy and weird topic podcast. Adult language may be used, probably by me. While our episode topics may be educational in nature, we are not responsible if your children start dropping the F-bomb to their kindergarten class. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everybody.
Hello there.
I am Carolanne.
This is Matt.
Welcome back to another episode of Boozed and Confused.
Welcome. I'm confused. I'm always confused. Rarely boozed,
and
often confused.
I have not been boozed for a long while. The light is at the end of the tunnel for that, but then we've got a whole bunch of other things we got to work with.
Right. I keep thinking of this as like ending soon, where in reality it's just the beginning.
Yes. All right. We have a really weird topic today that I didn't know was a thing until I started researching, and I happened upon it from something I found on Reddit, which I feel like is how I find a lot of the weird shit that we talk about. But before we get into today's topic, a few notes.
Housekeeping.
Always housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
I'm going to go through them quick. All right. The first one. We're on all your favorite social media. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And haven't been super active or as active as I would like. But maybe I'll get better about that. But regardless, still love the stuff that you guys send us. So please continue to do that. And if social media isn't really your thing, that's totally fine. I think we all understand. You can hit us up on email at boozedandconfusedpodcast@gmail.com. Send us some like weird stories, some creepy shit you've encountered. If Bigfoot is your uncle and he's just like terrible to be around on Thanksgiving, we would love to know.
Yeah, he always brings like the awkward, like political questions.
Yeah. Let's see.
Are we on Parler yet? Are we on Parler?
We're not on Parler, nor will we be. And also not on Clubhouse. I'm not cool enough for Clubhouse.
The hell is Clubhouse?
Clubhouse is like, it's like people who want to be Joe Rogan trying to do like TED Talks.
Oh, that's
in like
the one
a Discord channel
where you're just talking and people
Yeah.
can. That's
Yeah,
a weird. It's like if radio were the only form of interaction we had, and it's like radio, but like social media radio.
Yeah. No, it's weird. It's super weird. So, I've always said that the kind of person who I feel like is on Clubhouse is the people who are on LinkedIn who write their like LinkedIn statuses, and it's literally like one sentence and then two spaces and then another sentence and two spaces, just like add the dramatic effect to it. And it's like, I called my brother yesterday. He's doing great. And like that's the kind of shit that they put on LinkedIn, and they try to be motivational. So we're just sticking with the normal ones.
I feel like, I have what's it called? LinkedIn. I have one.
Yeah.
You have one. Everyone has one.
Yeah.
I haven't logged into that thing in like 3 months though.
Yeah. Well, I'm on it. You're like, given our differences in professions, I think it makes sense that I'm on it a lot more than you are, but
speak for yourself. I'm going to be on that thing every single day. Every single day.
Yeah, okay, bad timing. Anyways, all right. The next item is if you like the pod and you want to support us, you don't need to send us money.
You can.
You can if you want. We don't have like a I was going to say a GoFundMe.
You keep saying coffee thing, like the buy me coffee thing.
Yeah, we don't have a buy me coffee. We don't have a Patreon.
We have a Ninja, and we're fine. It leaks some water sometimes, but overall the coffee's pretty good.
I think you can change the buy me a coffee to buy me a beer, but maybe we'll do that after the baby is born, and we'll see how things go. But anyway, so we don't have any of those. So if you want to support us and you enjoy the pod, the best way that you could do that is by leaving us a review and subscribing or following us on your platform of choice, especially if it's Apple Podcast. And I know I say this every week, but it really does make a difference. I promise. It makes a huge difference for your reviews. The best part is if you leave us a review and you take a screenshot and you send it to us, we will send you some Boozed and Confused stickers for free. We'll send them in the mail.
Yeah, you were actually writing letters.
Yes.
What, like yesterday or something?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. They don't want to get mail from me.
No,
they don't want that.
No. And as long as the review is, I'm not going to tell you to leave us a 5-star review. But as long as you just don't tell us to, choke and die, that's fine. Yeah. So yeah. And the last housekeeping item, what are you drinking today?
This is coffee. It's coffee with some Appalachian Sippin cream.
Is it the bottom of the barrel over there?
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. Yeah, it's gone. It had a very good run. It's like Pecan something or other. I prefer Bailey's.
Yeah.
I like it simple. Yeah. Or Carolanne's, whatever.
Just not O'Donnell's.
It's absolute it's absolute trash. And it's because they don't use whiskey, they use wine.
Yes.
Which is stupid.
Well, I love Aldi, and it took a while for Matt to come around to Aldi, but we're there, and that's our regular grocery store. Bailey's is exceptionally expensive.
It's stupidly expensive. So Aldi makes like a Bailey's knockoff called O'Donnell's. It's not a great knockoff in Matt's eyes because it's made with wine and not whiskey. Well, also it tastes like garbage. It tastes garbage by itself.
That's what I was insinuating.
If you put a splash in a venti coffee, which is large, even though every size at Starbucks means large, and then venti just means 20.
Yeah.
So it's large, 20. And you just put a little splash in.
Is that you, Paul Rudd?
It's accurate. It's accurate. Besides, Team Panera coffee over here.
Yeah.
Free coffee for $9.
Well, it's not free. It's unlimited.
Free for $9.
Yeah, sure.
It might not be free, but it's it's free enough.
Yeah,
it's free enough.
I mean, $9 for an entire month of coffee, and it's unlimited to the point where you can go every 2 hours and get a new coffee, and it includes teas, which is kind of nice. So,
yeah, you like those. It's too hot.
I do.
It's way too hot. What was I going to say? I judge Irish cream off of the ability to be sipped by itself over ice.
Yeah.
Carolanne's tastes 99% just like Bailey's.
Yeah.
And you can get the big old bottle for the price of one average size Bailey's. So, boom.
There's
done.
one that we haven't talked about. It's
Kirkland?
The Kirkland.
The Kirkland one is just as good.
It's good.
It's just as good.
The giant bottle is like $20, I think. Whereas like the giant thing of Bailey's is probably like 40 something.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. All I'm saying is that this is neither Bailey's nor Carolanne's nor O'Donnell's, and it's quite good. It's quite good.
Yeah.
We've got some other creams in the fridge.
Yeah.
Which we have to unplug whenever we record.
Yeah.
And
a little behind the scenes.
Maybe I'll forget to plug it back in after an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to get like a beer out of the fridge and I'll be like, shit.
Yeah. It happens.
And then I just carry on with my day. I plug it back in.
Yeah. We don't keep food down here, so it's fine most of the time.
Tell it to the ants.
Alrighty.
Okay.
We should get into it.
This is a Carolanne episode.
All right. So yeah, I found a random thing on Reddit that talked about something called the International Eugenics Conference. And I had never heard of this before, and I thought it was very bizarre and was wondering when the hell this even happened.
Right. It's like April 12th. All the Eugenes in the world meet up.
Shut
Shut up. Don't you derail this episode.
It's my only intention this episode.
Oh my God. Okay, so if you are not familiar somehow with the concept of eugenics, we'll kind of give an overview of that before really getting into this like International Eugenics Conference, because it just helps give, I think, a little bit of context and backstory, especially around like what else was happening in the world at that time.
Correct. I can take this part.
Yeah. Okay,
I got this part.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
God. Why?
When like a mommy and a daddy get, have a baby, the stork comes.
Yeah.
Mommy and daddy make lists of names they want.
Yeah.
And if mommy is drunk when they're deciding, you get Eugene.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how Eugenes are born.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't just come out when they're 45. Okay, so I thought you were being serious, so I'll just take this back.
It's deadpan. This is one of my life skills. If anyone needs to hire a deadpan, like can't tell if they're joking person, any profession really, look me up on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I have really good headshots.
You have really versatile skills.
Very talented.
Yeah. All right, so eugenics beliefs are incredibly controversial for pretty good reasons. The TLDR is that it basically involves saying like this person based on XYZ traits is more worthy of continuing life in the future than, and like having a continuing lineage than like these other people based on their ABC traits, So that's like a very broad description. Yeah. And it's not a new concept by any means, like not even from the last few centuries. Plato actually talked about eugenics, did not use the word eugenics because that's a little bit more modern, but the idea of like selective breeding is something that goes back to like 400 BC.
Yeah, I think he called it platonics. Actually, like platonics. Also, you see Plato when I was little.
What is happening? Why are you doing this in this episode?
I woke up and I chose dad jokes and violence.
It's like chaotic good.
Yeah, I'm doing this for the 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
Hit us up. I don't have an iTunes account, but if I did, I would totally give everybody 5-star reviews.
Well, I found out how to do that finally. I felt so bad because some people in our pod fam were leaving us reviews, and we are an Android household, and I finally figured out how to leave reviews on iTunes. So iTunes and Apple Podcasts, whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure when you leave a review, I'm sure like they force you to say like left on some ugly, stupid Android phone.
Yeah. All right, back to eugenics. So in modern history, the discussions and actions around eugenics were kind of like kickstarted maybe under Teddy Roosevelt. So like the government created a hereditary commission in 1906, and the sole purpose was to investigate, quote, all proper means, end quote, of influencing heredity to better the human race. I did not know that this was a thing. I think this is maybe something that was left out of my history class when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's an inconvenient truth.
Yeah. And so it kind of gets worse from there. So the entire idea that they had for this like commission was that it aimed to increase, quote, families of good blood and discourage the vicious elements in the crossbred American civilization. And the commission was also told basically to study if they could like evolve a new kind of like human being, basically.
Like a Superman?
Not like a Superman, like I don't know. I'm gonna struggle with this episode because I think so much of eugenics is based in like white supremacy. Not like a Superman, but like an
Ubermensch, like an Ubermensch.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get super deep into the history of eugenics in the US because, at least not in this episode, because I feel like it's very deserving of its own episode. So maybe that's something we'll do in the future. But in the early 1900s, the US had more than like a dozen states that enacted these eugenics laws that like allowed these states to perform like sterilizations of the population, like forced sterilizations, which is nuts to me. Again, had no idea that this was a thing.
Never in America.
Yeah,
Never.
no, never. So a really good example of this is Wisconsin. So in Wisconsin in the early 1900s, they had this eugenics, very close to home. They had this eugenics law, and they forced sterilizations on 15 men and 61 women who were inmates in prison, and they were forced into these procedures. And from the people that this was forced on, you think like maybe like inmates, like maybe there are serious offenses like committing rape or child molestation or something like that. I know that's like a, like castrations of people who are rapists and child molesters is like something that always comes up whenever you hear a horrific news story. But no, some of the shit that these inmates did was just like, oh, this guy, he stole hams for his family from the store. So we sterilized him.
Shaking my head right now. I can't see me, but I'm shaking my head.
Yeah. So that happened. Some states, found it like unconstitutional. I think like Oregon was one of the first ones to say like, oh, guys, this is maybe kind of fucked up. But I think one of the most obvious cases from modern history would be World War II and Nazi eugenics. Nazi eugenics, again, I think deserves its own topic episode, but I don't want to have too many eugenics episodes.
We could do a month of eugenics.
I really don't want to make this a common thing. So, yeah. I mean, what?
Do you think we can call in an expert, like a Zoom call? Can his name be Eugene?
No. And just, no. We're not doing this. No. So, in my personal opinion, I think eugenics is a terrible idea, and it's a really, really slippery slope.
It's like a very slippery dance between like humanitarianism, like taking humans as what they are, and like kind of like a general like we all have like a baseline need for like respect and being accepted as humans.
Yeah.
But then there's the other side of the coin, which maybe call like the science side, where there's definitely things in humanity that could essentially be eradicated with this like selective breeding thing.
Right.
But once you put humans in that category, you're guilty of like dehumanizing them. It's a super if you're a bastard and you don't care about the quality of human life or respect of human life, then yeah.
And I kind of bring this up in a little bit, but it's also like, who is the person who dictates like what the quality of life standard should be? You know what I mean?
It would probably be like Elon Musk and Bill Gates.
Daddy Mussy.
Yeah.
So kind of like what you were saying is like there are arguments that eugenics could be used for very loose quotes positive effects like eradicating certain diseases or disabilities
or hair colors
or no, but I love your ginger hair. All right,
I played a guy
this is why we got married.
Look, I played a guy in Rocket League the other day with Joe and Tim, and this guy's gamer tag was kill all gingers.
He probably didn't mean you, though. He probably meant, like, all of them except you.
I want to say we lost the game.
Yeah.
But after every goal I scored, I was like, this goal was for Ron Howard.
Yeah.
This goal was not for Carrot Top. We don't accept Carrot Top.
No.
But for all the redheads. And then I called him a xenophobe. And then I reported his gamer tag as hateful.
You're not wrong. So, a good example, I guess, of... I don't know. I don't even know if I would say it's a good example. Something like a modern topic that's been talked about a lot is Iceland and Down syndrome, for example. So if you haven't heard of this...
I've not.
There are certain, like, very conservative religious groups who say that Iceland is participating in eugenics and essentially eradicating people with Down syndrome through this selective breeding, right? And so there's been a lot of misinformation, I think, spread around the story, so much so that the government of Iceland even put out, like, a clarifying statement or release or something. But the TLDR is that Iceland has these incredibly low rates of women who give birth to babies with Down syndrome. But it's nothing to do with, like, a government mandate. The government doesn't force you into prenatal genetic testing. It's entirely up to the pregnant woman to do the testing and then make the choice herself. And the reason is, women do have the choice for these genetic screenings when they are pregnant. And about 80 to 85% of these pregnant women opt for these genetic tests. And of those who do the testing, only about 15 to 20% who are informed of a higher probability of the fetus having Down syndrome choose to keep the pregnancy. And because they do these tests and it's such a low rate of women who choose to keep the pregnancy, there's only about 2 to 3 kids born in Iceland, like the entire country, every year who have Down syndrome. And this is like a trend over the past decade or so. So if you've seen news articles that are like, Iceland has eradicated Down syndrome, it's not like they've cured Down syndrome. And, I say cured in loose quotes, like that's like a topic headline that I did see when I was researching this. But it's the woman's choice to say, I did the testing, this is not something that I wish to continue with, and then terminate the pregnancy.
Yeah, they didn't cure anything. They're just not having kids.
If they find that there's like a higher probability basically that the fetus could have Down syndrome, they terminate the pregnancy. Matt's nose is very flared right now. So, all of this to say, the concept of eugenics has such a stronghold in like the early 1900s that they make like a fucking conference about it. And I like the idea of this was so baffling to me because I obviously think eugenics is a crazy idea, but there were enough people in the 1900s that were like, yeah, let's basically make this like a Comic-Con and all get together because we're all really into the idea of eugenics. And so they have these like 3 international eugenics congresses that take place between 1912 and 1932. And it's really just like a bunch of politicians and scientists and like community leaders or social leaders getting together to talk about how they could make the human race better, continuing into the early 20th century. Very strange. So the first Congress happens in July of 1912 in London, and the British Eugenics Education Society invites everybody down for some tea and some light conversations about eugenics.
Oh my goodness. Light conversation.
Very light. And I also got a chuckle because the British Eugenics Education Society specifically calls itself that so that it's not confused with other eugenics education societies. They made sure that the British part was attached. So another fun fact, it was actually renamed the Galton Institute in 1989.
I was alive then.
So recent.
I was alive.
But while it was under the original name, published the scientific journal that was dedicated to eugenics up until 1968.
I wasn't alive yet.
No. And it was called the Eugenics Review, which is a very clever name. But they changed their name because, shockingly, after World War II, eugenics had a very negative public sentiment.
No, it's like, oh, we're not Nazis, baby. We're British.
Yeah. Yeah, no. We're
not
much
the
better.
Baddies.
We're not the baddies. We're much better than that. So, like 400 people get together for this first one, and the guest list is like star-studded, if you want to call it that. I don't know if that's like a good way to phrase it, but They basically call these people like influencers. So the influencers included Leonard Darwin, who's the son of Charles Darwin, which feels very fitting. Winston Churchill, First Lord of the British Admiralty, and Lord Alverstone, the Chief Justice, Arthur Balfour, as well as ambassadors of Norway, Greece, and France.
I don't know anything about Charles Darwin's family. I'm going to assume that Leonard was some kind of wannabe scientist.
Leonard sounds like a nerd.
I feel like it's like, oh, your parent was this wonderful scientist. I'm sure you will be one too. It's kind of like when athletes who will like dominate a sport for 15 years have a kid, and the kid's like oh, I really like books.
I think I'm into chess.
Yeah. You're just trying to get the name out there.
Yeah.
It's like a name thing.
Yeah, exactly. So Darwin presides over this first Congress and opens up with talking about how the, quote, introduction of principles of better breeding procedures for humans would require moral courage, end quote. What a fucking way to set the stage, honestly.
I think it could be this really clever group name, like Introduction of Principles of Better Breeding Procedures. No, it could be like the IPBBPH.
I'm never going to remember that.
IPBBPH.
It's everything sounds too close.
Hi, welcome to the IPBBPH.
Yeah, it's like when
rolls off the tongue.
When I'm trying to spell banana and I sing the Gwen Stefani song in my head.
It's the only thing that works. Otherwise, you're like Banna or Bananana.
How many nanas are there? So Bleecker von Wagenen.
That's a name.
That's a name. Presents this information about like American sterilization laws and propagated compulsory sterilization as the best method to cut off, quote, defective germplasm. So it's so strange, like, reading this stuff out loud in 2021, because it's like that kind of stuff really grosses me out. But back then, like, did they think this was like cutting edge science?
Well, they also thought that we'd be in like rocket cars by now.
Yeah, we ruined that a long time ago. I'm gonna blame GM for that. All right, yeah. So Darwin closes things out. You know, the conference is only like 5 days or so. So they close things out, and Darwin compares eugenics as the practical application of the principle of evolution, which
He's just reading his dad's notes. All right, you're not Charles, Leonard.
Lenny. And apparently everyone had such a good time. They were like, let's do this again. So they come back for a second conference. And the second Congress gets together in 1921. And this time they're not across the pond. They are in New York. And it's presided by Henry Fairfield Osborne. And Alexander Graham Bell actually was the honorary president. So, like, again, there are some names. I think the part about this that creeps me out is there's so many names that you recognize and you know from, like, other pieces of work, you know, that they've participated in. But, like, nobody tells you everybody's super into, like, eugenics.
Yeah, it's the phone guy.
So, very strange. And this one had a bit of an expanded guest list. So they had people not only from Europe and North America, they also had people from Latin America and Asia. And Major Darwin is the major guest speaker and like advocates that eugenic measures that, you know, need to be taken include like elimination of the unfit, you know, loose quotes, the discouragement of large families in the ill-endowed, and the encouragement of large families in the well-endowed. Yeah, this is that slippery fucking slope that we were talking about. So instead of being like, maybe this could be used for good, like Darwin basically gets up there and he's like, fuck the poor people. And we should make sure that only the wealthy people can have kids.
This is sounding kind of like that movie Idiocracy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Only I liked Idiocracy because it was a human story, and it's not. When you have the wealthy determining anything, eat the wealthy, eat them.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I'll kind of say that's my interpretation. You could maybe interpret well-endowed as not just monetary, but other things as well. But
I have an interpretation that I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah, so we'll just leave that there. And something like super weird that comes out of this second conference, besides the fact that everybody is like a raging hard-on for eugenics, is this statue that's made by Jane Davenport Harris. And it's put on exhibit during the Congress, and then it comes back for the third one. But it's called The Average Young American Male. And the statue is pretty much like, I don't know. Okay, so pretty much what she did is she takes the body measurements of like 100,000 white U.S. Army recruits. And it's supposed to be like a visual representation of like how the white male body would kind of like go downhill over time if they didn't take eugenic measures.
Okay, well, I very cautiously Googled this, and all I see is a ween. All I see is a ween. And I'm going to burn my laptop now.
So yeah, maybe Google it not on a work laptop or while you're at work, but yeah, super weird. And I don't know, very strange. There's
I'm bigger
another
than this guy. Like muscularly, I'm this guy is weak. This guy's weak. How tall is he? How tall is this statue? I don't know.
What are you, a girl on Tinder? How tall are you?
Look, if you're not 5'11", you ain't nothing. I'm 5'11" and a half, but I'm still gonna say I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, statue is super weird. But
he's very weak, and his hair's stupid, and he has no beard. He's weak.
I don't think you're allowed to have beards in the military, are you? Supposed to be clean shaven.
Well, in Black Ops, you had a beard.
Yeah, I don't know that that's realistic. Anyways, so yeah, everyone had such a good time at the second Congress. They come back for a third time. Everybody comes back on into New York, but in this time it's like 1932. And Henry Fairfield Osborne makes another appearance, and he like kind of opens things up, and he pretty much emphasizes like birth selection over birth control as the quote method to better the offspring, which is I don't know, disturbing maybe. And it kind of gets weirder from there. So F. Ramos is a representative from Cuba, proposes that like immigrants should be carefully checked for harmful traits, and suggested deportations of their descendants if inadmissible traits would later become apparent. So like if you found something out, you come here when you're like 15, and they're under the impression that you're like, you know, checking all the boxes, and then you're 30 and something happens and they're like, wait a second, you gotta go. You gotta go. You can't have kids here. Absolutely not.
I feel like unless the people who are running this are also like fit of peakness, like premier genetics, who the hell are they to judge this besides being able to pay for it?
Well, right. It's, yeah.
I got a lot of problems with this.
So speaking of being in your prime, Major Darwin at this point is 88.
You gotta get rid of him. I'm sorry, Major Darwin.
Yeah.
You're out.
Yeah, he can't make it. So sad. But he sends this report, and it's presented by a man named Ronald Fisher. And in this report, Darwin basically predicts like civilization's downfall or doom unless they implement these eugenic measures, basically. And there was never a fourth Congress that happened. So all of these meetings are happening under like the organization that they're part of. The organization has two other international meetings in 1934 and 1936, but they were not officially part of the Eugenics Congress or conference. So, yeah.
You see now, and you fast forward to like 2020, you got a lot of angry guys carrying tiki torches saying, like, you can't replace us.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm pretty sure if there were some like official council that would deem someone worthy of reproduction, which is a ridiculous concept to begin with, out of all those tiki torch carrying fellows, which by the way, they ruin tiki torches.
Yeah, we cannot have tiki torches.
Gaudy
I can't
as
go to
hell
Menards
anyways.
and buy
No,
a tiki
you
torch
go to
for my
Menards and
backyard.
you're like, if I get seen walking too far with this,
yeah, exactly.
I might be in trouble here.
Yeah.
Half of those slobs would be sent out of the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. There's you know the no, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that I would like to say that I feel like is maybe a slippery slope in and of itself. But I mean, that's kind of why I was saying I feel like so much of eugenics is based in white supremacy, at least the way that we understand it today.
Well, can I just, as a white person,
Yeah.
I'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's fucking crazy to me that there are people, and there are absolutely people who still believe this today. We haven't even really scratched the surface of, eugenics in other countries, for example. When I say like eugenics, I believe is based in white supremacy. I believe that a lot for the United States, maybe some European countries. But there are other countries who have dabbled in eugenics, like China, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That, again, deserves an entire episode in and of itself, but
Yes.
Very slippery slope.
I'm just not going to get on the ride.
Yeah,
I'm just not gonna
no,
get on
it's
the
one of
ride.
those things where, like, I could go down the rabbit hole, and then it's like, how far is too far? You know?
I think it's being too far once you've determined that someone is unworthy of
Yeah.
part of the human experience.
Yeah.
I think that's the point. I think it might be worth, allowing families, parents, people to explore their own genetics and to understand that, hey, I might be in for this, or that, and then provide aid rather than just saying, nope, that's it.
I guess, like, in a way, like, Hitler's grandkids kind of eugenicsed themselves, didn't they?
They intentionally chose to not
Yeah.
carry on the lineage, and
Yeah.
for that I'm grateful.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the advancements of technology and science, you can do a lot of really, really amazing things to help humans. This is not one of them.
Well, remember, one thing that I wanted to bring up and completely forgot about until right now, where was that doctor based out of where he performed an operation or, like, changed the genetic makeup of 2 embryos? Is that China?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was China.
Yeah. So again, like, very slippery slope. Like, you could potentially, I mean, like, that kind of technology could be used to eradicate HIV and AIDS in the future. But then it's like, how far does it get taken?
And that goes with any types of advancement in technology.
Yeah, exactly.
At what point is things like access to internet going to be, simply in an external device like a cell phone?
Mm-hmm.
At what point will it become part of our bodies?
I'm waiting.
Absolutely not. There's a fantastic book called Feed,
That's
all
a great
about
book.
this,
I
all
love
about
that
this.
book.
The ending's kind of stupid and doesn't
Yeah.
really make sense, but it's a really cool book in the first place. Same thing goes with, like, how far can we go with AI?
Mm-hmm.
there's the question of could we versus should we?
I mean, personally, I've seen the movie AI. I've seen Terminator. I don't want to get messed up by a bunch of AI. Even like Battlestar Galactica is a really good example.
Yeah, it's best.
I don't want to get my
series.
ass beat by some Cylons.
Best series. As someone who is not a Cylon, I can confirm that I would also not like to be gotten by Cylons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I say everyone just read a book, talk to your loved ones, go for a walk in the forest, eat some cheese. Just enjoy the simple things.
Yeah. You cheese eaters.
I'm actually craving cheese sticks right now. I'm gonna go upstairs to the fridge and eat some of those habanero cheese sticks from Aldi, which are a very reasonable price.
They are, yeah. Of course they are. But I think that about wraps it up for today's very light conversation on eugenics. I hope that you found it interesting in the sense that maybe you'll do a little bit of research, look at some other parts of this that are potentially also new to you in the way that they were new to me. And definitely go look up a picture of the average young American male statue by...
Do it on incognito.
by Jane Davenport Harris, just to understand really how weird shit got back in the day.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm an above average American male, so there.
All right, well, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's little chat, and we'll see you all next week, or at least new episodes every Monday.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. It was great. Good job.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week, and we won't be talking about eugenics.
Yeah, I'm going to take me and my ginger self
into
the garage. I'm going to mow the lawn.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'm not even 5 feet tall. I'd probably also be on the list.
You wouldn't make the cut. No, not at all. Neither would I, though.
Oh. All right, well, see you guys next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.